A switch statement is a type of conditional statement which verifies whether a variable is true or false and make decision based around that. We are going to use the switch statement to actually create different scene changes inside the Frogger game that we have been building using classes and objects. The logic of switch statement, a kind of conditional statement, is pretty intuitive in my opinion. It's fairly smooth in terms of its logic, but the syntax is very different. The syntax can seem very strange. Okay, so we are going to take a look at the syntax of this switch statement. The general idea of how switch statement work is that you write a switch, switch, to indicate that you're starting a switch statement, and then followed by a parenthesis. And inside of that parenthesis, you are going to add a variable. And here I'm gonna say sing num, just means sing numbers. Okay, and we're gonna come up here and we're gonna say let sing num. I'm gonna start with 0. So let's say we have 3 different sings, right? So we're gonna have sing 0, sing 1, and sing 2, and yeah, we just keep going with that information. So switch parenthesis with the variable for your scene, which is going to be changed over time, and starting and closing curly bracket. And here's the fun part. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do is writing something called cases. So these cases are basically indicating like the scenarios for your switch statement. So here I'm going to say case number 1, and I'm going to say console.log, actually case number 0, right? So console.log, we are in sing, or just simplify that and say sing 0, and I'm gonna write break underneath that, and I am going to hit play. So what I am seeing now is the switch statement have tested whether scene number is 0 or not, right? And if it's true, if it's 0, then it's gonna load everything between scene 0 and the break. So continue forward, I'm gonna write case number 1, and you can guess what I'm about to write. Console log sing 1, and replicate again. Case 2, sing 2. Okay, so with this, what we can do now is, you just have to implement a condition for the sing number to advance, right? So I'm gonna do something very simple using function mouse pressed, and I'm going to say sing num plus plus. So now sing number is 0 because the variable matches the case 0. Click, and it's going to turn into sing 1. Click, it's going to go into sing 2, right? So this is the basics of how a switch statement work. If I click again, like now my sing number is 3. It's some other numbers now, and it's not going to be able to find an answer for this, right? So what I need to do is writing an if statement in here. So if sing num is equal to 2, actually equal to 3, then sing num equals to 0. So if I hit play, I'm going to test it, sing 0, sing 1, sing 2, and back to sing 0. Play again, right? So here, this is a basic mechanism that works for us. And another thing to notice and pay attention to is this word break. So what this break word does is that when you insert the word break inside a switch statement context, it breaks you out of the switch statement. so basically, it's almost like saying stop, like stop right here and leave, stop right here and exit, right? So it's going to execute whatever is inside sing case 0, and that's it when it hits the break. Okay, now a experiment. What if we comment the break out? And let's try that. So if we comment the break out, the case 0 is going to be tested true, but it's also going to load sing number 1. And that's because the switch statement works like a waterfall, right? So without the break word inserted after every single case, it's going to actually try to load everything, in that order, because it works like a waterfall. so this is a basic notion of a switch statement. This value here, case 0, doesn't have to be number. You can also insert words like strings, and in that case you would just, it doesn't really apply to what we're trying to do, but in that case you can just assign sing name to a string, and it would jump to that case. Okay, but for our purpose here, I'm going to uncomment that, and now we have a basic switch template. Neat. And I am going to bring this back to our Frogger. The first thing I have to do actually is to create my frog. So I'm going to make a new class frog, and I'm gonna create a constructor, and we're gonna assign the starting position for our frog. So it's going to be this dot x equals to width divided by 2. We're gonna start the frog at the center and bottom of the canvas. This dot y equals to height, maybe minus 50. Okay, and I also want a color for my frog. So this dot c equals to color 0, 2550. Okay, and so now I can go up to create a lead frog 1, and I can now go down here and say frog 1 equals to new frog. Come down into my draw, and nothing to display yet because we haven't drawn the frog. So let's actually do that. So let's say frog body, and I'm going to say ellipse, and it's going to be this dot x, this dot y, and 50, 50. And also it's going to have a color. So it's going to be fill this dot c. So notice how I can, create like methods with the same name under my class car and my class frog, right? Even though they share the same name, they are going to be seen as completely different entities, right? Because when I'm loading my my the body of my car, I have to write cars.body. And the same for frog. I will have to write frog1.body. So they are completely individual and autonomous and distinctive from one another. Oops, something is wrong. Let's see what it is. Oh, forks! Oh no, it's not fork. So frog. Frog1 equals a new frog. Okay, so come back here into my draw frog1.body. Yes. Okay, so another issues that we're seeing here obviously is that it's very interesting, right? The feel for our frog gets carried over and influences our body for the cars. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a additional variable for the cars. So it's going to be this dot c equals to c, and add a third argument inside of my car constructor. Down here, I'm going to say feel this dot c, and up on the very top, add a additional value here, right? So it's going to be color random 255, random 255, and random 255. So let's see what that does. Okay, so that's close to what we want. So now we have a frog, and there are many different cars. Okay, I'm actually gonna also change the number of my cars into a variable. So I'm gonna add a new global variable up here called cars num equals to 3. We're gonna start with 3 and change this to cars num, and also inside of my draw, change this to cars num. Okay, hit play here. All right, and also actually want my frog to start out just like a little smaller so it can't be hit by the car so easily. Okay, so let's go to frog, and I'm gonna do 30, 30. How's that? Sweet. Okay, so we got a frog, and we got 3 cars that's running concurrently. Now we have to find a way to be able to move my frog up and down using key pressed, or key is pressed actually. So a previous tutorial addresses the differences between using mouse is pressed, mouse press, key is pressed, key is down, and key is pressed. Okay, so anyways, I am gonna go into my draw, and I'm going to use key is down. So if key is down, and I believe, let's look it up real quick, key code info, the upper arrow key is number 38. So I'm going to insert number 38 in here. So if key is down and that number is 38, then the Y position of my frog1 needs to decrease, right? So how do I do that exactly? The way I do this is by accessing the member variable of my frog1. And how you do that is by writing frog1 dot y. So this, if you can see the comparison between this dot y versus frog1 dot y, this dot y is referencing the owner object, right? Like the object that it is a part of. Where frog.1 is referencing that y, like of my frog1 from the outside. So I can here say, frog1.y minus minus when key up is pressed. So hit play, And there you go, And key down is 40. So I'm gonna write another statement here. If key is down, 40, and frog1.y plus plus. So if we do this, we're able to move around, right? Okay, that's all great. What we want to do, and the purpose of this tutorial, is integrating the switch statement into here, so that when my frog returns home at the very top, it's going to enter the next scene of my game. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to my sample code here. And I'm actually just, this sample code is close enough to what I need to do. So I'm gonna copy my sing number variable equals to 0 there. And I'm gonna come back and copy my switch statement into my draw. Okay, so the whole idea is that I believe it's gonna start with sing 0, and my frog is gonna move up, and the moment it reaches, the top, it's going to get sent back down again. That's number 1, and also it's going to advance the scene, right? So here we can create a new if statement to test that, right? So there are different ways to do this. I would say that if it were me, I would actually add this as a feature into my actual frog. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to maybe create a moving feature for my frog, and encapsulate these key is up, key is down features in there, and also give it a way to test whether it's at the top of the screen. So under class frog, I'm gonna add move, and inside of move, I'm first going to move my key is down features, into my move method. I hit play again. Oh, and nothing is happening because I got loaded. And so frog1.move. Play, and I can move my frog now. That's awesome, right? Great. And I'm going to add a additional feature inside of my frog. And I'm going to say home. So it's gonna test whether the frog is home or not. And oh, by the way, so what I can do here, actually, since I've moved like my key is down if statement into my frog, it's probably best to change this to this. So this dot y minus minus this dot y plus plus. Okay, that's a lot cleaner there. Okay, so that, like, the member variable is glued and attached to its own object, just in case if I have frog2, frog3 later, it doesn't cross wires, right? Okay, so now I am going to continue developing this testing mechanism to see if it's home. So I am going to say if this dot y is smaller than 0, sing num is going to plus plus. And also, this dot y is going to equal to height minus 50. So let's actually add the method into our draw function. So frog1.home, and we're gonna hit play. So we're gonna move up, and when it hits when it hits the top, it's going to do two things. The first thing is it's going to change, advance the scene, add 1 to the scene number, and it's going to send the frog back to the bottom, right? And so the only last thing we have to integrate is make it so that if scene num is bigger than 2, then scene num equals to 0. So if I hit play there, I'm gonna start. Oh my god, I move so slow. I'm going to change this to 3, so it's gonna move 3 pixels every frame. Okay, so boop, it's going to send to the bottom. Now we're seeing 1 and seeing 2 and seeing 0 again. So back to the start again, right? So this is the basics of how the scene changing works. The next challenge that you can maybe try to implement is seeing how if you can make it so that the number of cars is going to be different at every level, right? So we start with car number 3 and maybe we can increase it, make it 5, make it 10 at different levels. So different things can possibly change, right? Depending on which case number we are under inside the switch statement.